Hey guys, I've had trouble finding lighting in my house, so I'm underneath my curtain right now, and so I just thought I'd have a little chat because I felt like a lot's been going on in the world. Firstly, I thought I'd talk about something that I witnessed on another video, which was you know, Friendly Jordies. He made a video about how there was shit prisons in Australia, and I thought that I would talk about that because I can talk about it because my father went to prison. I don't know exactly what happened in the prison. All I know is the somewhat aftermath, and I think that that led to him being a very depressed person. I remember vividly the day that we took him out of prison. So we were all really excited. We were taking him home. Basically, we were walking down Spencer Street. Now, he was in the MAP prison, and we were walking down Spencer Street in Melbourne, and the next thing I know is he turned around and stuck his fingers up at the prison and said, like, F you, because he had a lot go on. I know that he was in isolation for a while, and he was in protective custody, or protective, like he was in the protective thing because he had medication and people would try and attack him for his medication. So my dad had agoraphobia, depression, anxiety, a few other things. Like, he had a multitude of things going on, and he wasn't a healthy person physically as well, so they had him in the protective area. When we took him out, we were walking towards Spencer Street Station. We went home because my mum parked there, I think, and then we went home and he literally hid himself under his bed. Fast forward a few years, because at this point he had stopped drinking and all that kind of stuff. He wasn't a good person when he was drinking, but he started drinking again when I turned 16, I think. I think I was 16. And we had a lot of issues go down, but it was obvious that there was a mental battle. There was one time where he locked himself in the garage and started carving words into his arm saying F you and all that kind of stuff. It got to a point where it was too much, because there was another time when he started, like, I was at school camp and my mum and him had a fight over whatever. I know that there was a bit of fighting over gambling and all that kind of stuff on my mum's side. He would think that she was gambling, but she was just playing free bingo. It's sort of weird. So he was very paranoid as well, and he did things like he would get his worker boots and he threw them at my mum's car, and that's when my mum was like, enough is enough, like, we can't keep doing this. Fast forward to 2009. So this is the same year I was doing cosplay a lot and all that, and I was at a cosplay meetup. It's actually the same meetup where a while, like, on my other channel there's this video of me dressed up as Nia from Death Note, and there's like a little hat. It's literally the same day as that. So I was called on my phone, told to sit down, and my mum basically told me that my father had died. And then later on we found out that it was actually, he had gotten a bunch of medication and made a cocktail with some sherry, I think it was. Yeah. And like, I didn't have a very close relationship with my father, so it did affect me a lot then, and it still does, but it's not as, like, it's not like I really knew him, because he was very distant and I was very distant to him as well. There was a lot going on with him, and I think that it stemmed down to whatever happened in that prison, because I do remember prior to that, although he was a little bit aggressive, he wasn't as I guess, traumatized. I do remember him telling me about something with somebody in a broom, and he also told me about like there was these really bitchy guys who dressed up like they were women, but they would be like gym junkies as well, and they were sort of the main gang at that prison at the time. And I know that there was a lot of bullying and not a lot of help given to people when there was all these issues happening. So I like that. Just Friendly Jordy's video just reminded me of that, because I feel like a lot of these prison stories are just ignored, and a lot of people don't really realize that the prisons have been made into hell. They're not as bad as some of the overseas ones. Like, we could have it worse. We could have Russian prisons, and trust me that, like, I say trust me, but I've never been, but we could have Russian prisons, and they're apparently way worse than anything we've got here. So yeah, I guess that's all I really wanted to speak about with the prisons, but I think that we need to use them more as rehabilitation, because my dad did mention something that he didn't really get to learn anything there, and there's apparently courses going into prisons that are supposed to help rehabilitate these people. Because at this stage, usually when they come out, they have no option but to do crime again, because they can't get a job because they've got a prison record. So what do we expect them to do? Anyway, I guess I'll leave it at that.